juice of the Bulletproof fixer, a newcomer's synopsis. Setting: in a city pulsating with digital intrigue and analog secrets, there exists an underground world that thrums to the beats of electronic dance music. Here, neon lights play against graffiti-clad walls, and the urban populace dresses not just to express but to blend, to stand out, and sometimes to hide. Main characters: Yumi, a vibrant individual with a foot in both worlds, the mundane day-to-day and the electric nights of the EDM district. Her neon attire hides a thirst for uncovering mysteries that the city holds. Mei, Yumi's confidante and partner in crime. Mei's multicolored hair is not her only statement. Armed with a futuristic visor and a knack for digital sleuthing, she's Yumi's anchor in their swirling quest. Tony the Fixer, Tony the Phantom, a shadowy figure of the EDM district. Tony is a hacktivist, a street legend, and to many, an enigma. He's known to wage a solitary war against the oppressive forces of the criminal underworld, using both digital and physical prowess. Brutus, the stark contrast to Tony. An enforcer with a reputation for ruthlessness, Brutus is driven to unmask Tony and eliminate threats to his dominance over the city's seedy underbelly. Plot summary: Yumi and Mei are drawn into the intricate maze of the EDM district, a place where fashion serves as armor, and whispers carry stories of legends like Tony. They embark on a nocturnal quest to unravel the mysteries surrounding this enigmatic figure, colliding with DJs, bartenders, and the district's eclectic denizens. Their encounters reveal fragments of Tony's character, a digital wizard with moral codes, waging private wars against criminal factions. Parallel to their search is the whispered legend of the Root, a powerful digital artifact that promises control over unfathomable systems. As the duo dives deeper, they grapple with the dichotomy of their lives. For Yumi, her adventures threaten her daytime reality, including her job. For Mei, every discovery pulls her deeper into the digital web, tempting her to lose herself entirely. Meanwhile, Brutus lurks in the shadows, his intentions unclear but undoubtedly sinister, especially toward Tony. Themes: the story juxtaposes the dualities of life, reality versus enigma, mundanity versus adventure, and personal desires versus broader ethical concerns. It prompts readers to question the intersections of technology and humanity, the allure of secrets, and the cost of curiosity. Note to new fans: this is a world where digital and analog coalesce, where every beat might be a clue, and every whisper could change the course of the story. Dive in, but remember, in the EDM district, not everything is as it seems. Chapter 1: The Allure of Neon Nectar. The neon lights of the EDM district had a hypnotic allure, drawing both night owls and seekers of forbidden experiences into its embrace. However, for those who knew where to look, there was a place that existed outside the regular spectrum, a place that held whispered secrets and ancient recipes. This place was the Neon Nectar Smoothie Bar. Hidden between two establishments that pulsed with the modern rhythms of EDM, the entrance to Neon Nectar was a simple wooden door, almost inconspicuous, but etched onto its surface were symbols that seemed ancient and otherworldly. Yumi and Mei, having heard murmurs of this place, found themselves drawn to it, like moths to a mysterious flame. Pushing open the door, they were immediately enveloped in an atmosphere quite unlike the bustling district outside. It felt as though they had stepped into another realm, where time flowed differently. The air was cooler, laden with an aromatic mix of herbs and fruits. The soft ambient music felt like a distant memory, a callback to a time when electronic music was still in its infancy. Chapter 2: Zen and the Phantom Blend. The very core of Neon Nectar's allure was its enigmatic bartender, Zen. With an almost ethereal demeanor, he moved gracefully behind the counter, crafting beverages that seemed to be much more than mere concoctions of fruits and herbs. His iridescent tattoos, a beautiful tapestry of intricate patterns and symbols, seemed alive, pulsating and shifting with his every mood. Seeing the newcomers, Zen's lips curved into a knowing smile. His eyes, sharp and clear, bore into Yumi and Mei's souls, as if he could see their very essence. "Ah, seekers of the root, are you?" His voice, melodic and deep, seemed to resonate within the confines of the bar, making the neon lights shimmer even more vibrantly. Before they could respond, Zen was already at work, his hands moving in a synchronized dance, crafting a beverage that seemed to capture the very essence of Neon Nectar. The result was the Phantom Blend, a thick, shimmering liquid that seemed to glow from within. The sight of it alone was mesmerizing. Chapter 3: The Vision of Time. Hesitating for only a moment, Yumi took a sip of the ethereal beverage. Immediately, a flood of sensations overwhelmed her. It was as though the barriers of time had dissolved, giving her glimpses of moments that had passed, those that were unfolding, and those yet to come. The weight of countless eras rested in that one sip. Her voice trembling with awe, she gasped, "This root, it's so much more than any legend I've heard. It's an anchor not just to memories or places, but to time itself." Mei, looking deep into her drink, wondered if she too was ready to embark on such a profound journey of discovery. The two girls, with the taste of infinity on their lips, realized that this was merely the beginning of their quest. Chapter 4: The Labyrinth's Embrace. Barely escaping neon nectar, Yumi and Mei darted into the neon-lit streets, their breaths short and heavy. The EDM district, which had seemed so familiar and inviting earlier, now felt like an ever-shifting maze. Glowing signs and holographic adverts turned to disorienting blurs as they sprinted past. Every alley and turn beckoned as both an escape route and a potential trap. Mei, always with a mental map in hand, tried to navigate them towards the heart of the district. There's a place, she panted, an underground safe spot where seekers and rebels take refuge. We need to get there. However, every few steps, the unmistakable swish of a blade or the muffled footstep of a pursuing ninja reminded them that safety was still a dream. The ninjas, with their unparalleled stealth, seemed to be everywhere and nowhere, their presence more felt than seen, ensuring a relentless undercurrent of tension. Chapter 5: Revelations and Resonance. In the midst of their escape, Yumi, drawing from the potent visions induced by the phantom blend, started to discern patterns in the chaos. Streetlights flickered in sequences, rhythms that seemed to correspond to the beats of the district's music. It was as if the district itself was guiding them, resonating with the power of the root coursing through Yumi. I see it, Yumi shouted to Mei, veering left into a narrow alleyway. The music, the lights, they're showing us the way. Sure enough, every turn Yumi took, every decision she made while tuned into this newfound guidance, seemed to throw the pursuing ninjas off their trail, even if just for a few moments. Chapter 6: Haven Amid the Beats. Finally, after what felt like hours, they stumbled upon a nondescript door with a rhythmic pulsing light above it. Mei recognized it instantly, the heartbeat door. We're close. Pushing it open, they were greeted by the entrancing sight of an underground rave. The thumping beats seemed to synchronize with their racing hearts, and the crowd, lost in the world of music, danced with wild abandon. In the center, a massive screen displayed a message, sponsored by Tony. It was an open secret that Tony, though unseen, had his fingers on the pulse of the district. The rave was not just a party, it was a sanctuary for those like Yumi and Mei, those who found themselves tangled in the intricate web of secrets and power. The rave offered them a momentary reprieve, but both knew that the night was far from over. The roots' mysteries were unfolding, and their roles in this cosmic dance of power and destiny were just beginning. Chapter 7: The Pulse of the Underground. As Mei and Yumi descended further into the cavernous space, they felt the very vibrations of the music ripple through their bones. Strobes of multicolored lights painted ephemeral stories on the walls, revealing glimpses of graffiti art from long-ago raves. The crowd, an eclectic mix of hackers, seekers, rebels, and ravers, flowed around them, all seemingly absorbed in the shared trance of the underground world. Within this world, everything had a rhythm, a pulse. From the synchronicity of the dancers to the DJs spinning ethereal tunes at the decks, there was a palpable energy. This is Tony's realm, Mei whispered, her voice barely audible above the roar of the bass. He's the puppet master, orchestrating from the shadows. Each step they took seemed to merge with the rhythm, leading them deeper into the heart of the rave. Several dancers, their bodies adorned with luminescent paint, beckoned them to join, their movements in perfect synchrony with the tracks being played. Chapter 8: The Digital Whisperer. Amid the chaos, Yumi's heightened senses, still under the influence of the phantom blend, picked up on a digital hum, a frequency distinct from the music. It was a signal, emanating from a corner of the rave where a group huddled around a series of holographic screens. Approaching cautiously, they realized this was no ordinary gathering. The screens displayed a complex tapestry of digital networks, data streams, and real-time analytics of the EDM district. At the helm was a figure known only as Cypher, rumored to be the district's premier digital whisperer. Cypher, her fingers dancing across the screens with a balletic grace, noticed them and beckoned them closer. "You're on the grid," she said, her voice smooth and entrancing. "The ninjas, they're tracking you, not by sight but by your digital footprints. The root, it leaves a trace." Chapter 9: Synthesizing Realities. Yumi and Mei exchanged worried glances. The realization that their pursuit was not merely physical but digital added layers of complexity to their predicament. If the root bridged both worlds, they needed to find a way to cloak themselves in both. Cypher, sensing their unease, offered a solution. "There's a way to go off the grid, to synthesize your realities. But it requires a melding of the physical and digital, a deep dive into the essence of the root." She led them to a secluded alcove within the rave, where a fusion of ancient and futuristic devices lay. "This," she indicated to a chair with neural connectors, "will allow you to tap into the core of the root, to understand its power and, in turn, harness it." With the ninjas in relentless pursuit and the mysteries of the root beckoning, Mei and Yumi had a choice to make, to dive deeper into the unknown or to flee and remain forever on the run. The rave, it seemed, was just the beginning of their journey into the enigma of the root. Chapter 10: The Quietude of Home. The intensity of their recent escapades made the familiar streets leading to their shared apartment feel both surreal and grounding. The transition from the adrenaline-pumping beats of the EDM district to the rhythmic chirping of early morning birds marked a significant shift in their reality. As Yumi and Mei ambled slowly towards home, the first light of dawn painted the skyline with pastel hues, soft oranges and pinks breaking the monochrome palette of the night. Their apartment building, unlike the towering chrome structures of the city center, had character. Constructed in an era gone by, its brick exterior bore marks of time, some places chipped, others covered with vines. This old building, with its arched doorways and mosaic-tiled pathways, stood as a testament to a time less complicated. It was a sharp contrast to the neon and holograms they had recently encountered, serving as a warm embrace of familiarity. Unlocking the creaky wooden door, the familiar scent of home greeted them. It was a mix of Mei's sandalwood incense and the faint vanilla notes of Yumi's favorite candles. Stepping inside, their living space offered comfort in its predictability. A cozy living room, dominated by a plush white sofa and a sturdy coffee table littered with books and curios, opened up to a balcony that oversaw the city's older part. Yumi's beloved potted plants lined the balcony, each one a memory of a place or moment they had cherished. Both of them, drained from their encounters, sought solace in the apartment's embrace. Yumi collapsed onto the sofa, wrapping herself in a knitted throw, while Mei headed straight for her bedroom, the soft blue glow of her computer's standby light offering a gentle welcome. The day that followed was one of restoration. Sounds from the streets below filtered through the half-open balcony doors, the distant hum of traffic, children's laughter from the nearby park, and the melodious call of a street vendor. Inside, the apartment was filled with the comforting sounds of life, a brewing pot of tea, the rustle of pages as Yumi lost herself in a book, and the occasional chime from Mei's computer signaling a received message. Despite the warmth and normalcy, the experiences at Neon Nectar and their encounter with the mysterious ninjas remained fresh. Every so often, Yumi's fingers would trace the rim of her smoothie glass, her mind wandering to the phantom blend and its revelations. Mei, on the other hand, seemed pensive, her moments of quiet reflection interrupted only by bursts of typing as she documented their journey thus far. The day culminated in a shared dinner, a simple meal of homemade sushi rolls and miso soup, paired with a pot of Mei's favorite green tea. They spoke little, letting the food and each other's company fill the spaces between them. By evening, the apartment was bathed in a soft golden hue from the setting sun. The two friends, seated on the balcony, watched as day turned to night, the city lights slowly illuminating the landscape. The serenity of the moment, a sharp contrast to their recent adventures, was a poignant reminder of the balance between the known and the unknown, the ordinary and the extraordinary. Chapter 11, Pixels and Prophecies. While Yumi found solace in the analog comforts of books and plants, Mei's refuge was the digital realm. The blue glow from her workstation bathed her room in an ethereal light, an array of screens displaying cascading code, digital diagrams, and an intricate web of information connecting various dots. In the aftermath of their encounter at Neon Nectar, Mei had become increasingly invested in uncovering the true essence of the root. This wasn't just about a smoothie or a legend, it seemed tied to the very fabric of their reality, blending the tangible with the intangible. Her fingers danced over her keyboard, each tap a rhythmic accompaniment to her thoughts. She dived deep into the annals of digital lore, sifting through ancient forums, archived chat logs, and encrypted files. Her search wasn't just confined to the present internet. She delved into the older versions, the shadow nets of yesteryears where legends like the root might have first sprouted. As hours morphed into days, Mei unearthed a thread from a forgotten digital archive. It spoke of a prophecy, an age-old tale where the bridge between the digital and physical worlds would be made manifest through an anchor, referred to as the root. The more she read, the clearer it became that their experience at Neon Nectar wasn't mere chance. They were, knowingly or unknowingly, players in an unfolding saga. There were whispers of an order, a group dedicated to ensuring that the root's power remained hidden, safe from those who might exploit it. Mei's heart raced as she pondered, could these be the ninjas that pursued them? And if so, what was their true intent? Were they guardians or seekers of this power? Exhausted but driven by this newfound knowledge, Mei decided to reach out to the only other individual who might shed light on this mystery, Zen, the enigmatic bartender from Neon Nectar. But how to contact someone who seemed more a part of myth than reality? Thinking back to their encounter, Mei remembered a peculiar insignia on Zen's wrist, a subtle tattoo that seemed out of place amidst his other more flamboyant designs. It was a simple symbol, a circle intersected by a vertical line. Feeling it was more than just a random design, Mei decided to use it as her beacon. Crafting a digital emblem based on Zen's tattoo, Mei embedded it into an encrypted message, detailing their experiences and her discoveries. She sent it out into the digital realm, hoping it would find its way to Neon Nectar's enigmatic guardian. As the message journeyed through the vastness of the web, Mei leaned back, eyes heavy from days of relentless research. The soft hum of her computer and the distant sounds of Yumi's evening routine were the lullabies that gently coaxed her into a much-needed rest. Chapter 12, Whispers in the Wind. Yumi, in the interim, had not been idle. While her routine revolved around the soothing cadence of nature and books, she too felt the ripples of the neon nectar event. Each morning, as she meticulously cared for her plants, she couldn't shake off the feeling that the world around her was revealing subtle, yet profound secrets. One morning, as she watered her beloved bonsai, a gentle rustle caught her attention. Upon closer inspection, she noticed that one of the tiny leaves bore an imprint, eerily reminiscent of the symbol May had described from Zen's tattoo. This couldn't be mere coincidence. Drawing upon her knowledge of botany and ancient plant lore, Yumi began a deep dive into the history of plants used in rituals and prophecies. Among the dusty tomes and faded manuscripts, she found references to a plant known as the Digitalis nexus. It was believed to be a bridge between the natural world and realms beyond comprehension. Intriguingly, its leaves bore a mark identical to Zen's tattoo. Feeling a renewed sense of purpose, Yumi began to cultivate a sample of this rare plant, intuitively understanding its potential role in the unfolding narrative. As days turned into nights, the Digitalis nexus responded to her care, growing at an almost supernatural pace, its every fiber resonating with energy. The bonsai, acting as a conduit, started to communicate in a language older than words. Every sway of its leaves, every pulse of its roots seemed to echo the beats of the EDM district, and more poignantly, the rhythm of the root. On the fourth night, under the soft glow of her reading lamp, Yumi sat cross-legged in front of the plant, letting its vibrations wash over her. Images and sensations cascaded through her mind, an overwhelming flood of past, present, and possible futures. And then, as swiftly as it began, it culminated in a singular vision, a location in the heart of the city, a place she recognized but had never visited. The vision was clear, it was an invitation, or perhaps a beckoning, to the next chapter of their journey. Simultaneously, May's workstation sprang to life, a notification signaling an incoming message. The emblem she had sent out had found its mark. Zen had replied. The paths of the two friends, though seemingly divergent, were converging towards a shared destiny. The story of the root was unraveling, and they were at its epicenter. Chapter 13, Echoes of Tomorrow. The world around Yumi morphed as dreams took hold, plunging her into a realm neither wholly real nor entirely imagined. Skies painted in hues of twilight stretched infinitely, dotted with stars that shone with an intensity she had never seen. Beneath her feet, the ground shimmered, reflecting the cosmos above like a vast mirror. In the distance stood an ancient tree, its roots extending far and wide, intertwined with the very fabric of the universe. Its trunk bore the unmistakable mark of the root, pulsating with ethereal energy. As Yumi approached, she could feel its vibrations, a rhythm that beckoned her closer. From the tree's vast branches, spectral figures emerged. These were not mere phantasms but seemed to be echoes of real individuals. Some she recognized, some were strangers. Among them, she saw Zen, May, and even Tony. Each was engaged in a dance, their movements telling tales of time and destiny. A gust of wind blew, and with it, whispers. They weren't words per se but impressions, fleeting glimpses of events yet to come. Yumi saw the neon nectar not as a place of solace, but as a battleground. The Digitalis nexus she nurtured gleamed with significance, its role pivotal in the challenges ahead. The ninjas, no longer adversaries, stood alongside them, guardians of a shared purpose. Then, at the center of it all, lay a crystal, a nexus of power, glowing with the intensity of 1,000 suns. The very essence of the root, both its gift and its peril. The dance around the tree grew more fervent, the figures reaching out to the crystal, yet it remained just out of reach for all but one, a shadowy figure, its form obscured, its intentions unknown. As the dream reached its crescendo, a shrill sound pierced the tranquility, drawing Yumi away from the unfolding vision. The realm of dreams started to dissipate, replaced by the familiar confines of her room. She awoke with a start, heart racing, the remnants of the dream still vivid in her mind. The sound of wind chimes played softly, their melodic tinkling a stark contrast to the intensity of her dream. The pre-dawn light hinted at the beginning of a new day, but for Yumi, it was clear that a new chapter in their quest was about to unfold. The dream, with its foreboding and promise, was not just a figment of her imagination, it was a guide, a harbinger of things to come. Chapter 14, Tony's Tango with Fate. The sun cast a lurid glow over the darkened alleys of the underworld district, an area few dared to tread, but one that Tony navigated with ease. With the reputation of the Neon Nectar's mysterious benefactor preceding him, few dared to stand in his way. But tonight was different. Tonight, there was a score to settle. Hidden from the public eye, behind tinted windows and guarded doors, the Triad and mob bosses had gathered, their collective might forming a dark alliance to seize the root's power. Word had spread of Tony's association with it, and they wanted in. The dimly lit warehouse, with its rafters and shadows, became an arena of conflict. As the heavy metal door groaned open, Tony, silhouetted against the outside light, made his entrance. Dressed in a black tailored suit, contrasting sharply with his radiant blue eyes, he radiated an aura of supreme confidence. The Triad's enforcer, a hulking brute named Lu Feng, was the first to advance, brandishing a set of gleaming twin sai. Tony, unfazed, sidestepped his aggressive lunge, delivering a precise elbow strike that sent Feng sprawling. Next came the mob's best, Vinny the Viper, a kickboxer notorious for his venomous strikes. As Vinny unleashed a flurry of rapid kicks, Tony danced around him, his movements reminiscent of a graceful waltz. In one fluid motion, Tony executed a spinning heel kick, connecting with Vinny's temple, sending him crashing into crates stacked nearby. The echoing sounds of combat drew attention from all corners of the warehouse. With every thug, enforcer, and goon converging on him, Tony's situation looked grim. But, reminiscent of the heroes from movies of old, Tony was undeterred. From his jacket, he pulled out a sleek, metallic bow staff, its ends electrified. With it, he carved a path of destruction, each strike emitting sparks, each connection sending foes into convulsions. The very ground seemed to shake with the intensity of the battle. At one point, surrounded on all sides, Tony took a stance reminiscent of the legendary American ninjas, channeling energy and focus. With a primal scream, he unleashed a barrage of attacks, moving so swiftly that he appeared as a blur, his enemies falling before they even realized they were hit. As the dust settled, Tony stood victorious amidst the sea of fallen adversaries. The message was clear: the root and its secrets were not for the likes of the Triad or the mob. They were guardians of a power that required responsibility and respect. Exiting the warehouse, Tony glanced back, a small smile playing on his lips. He may have been absent from the Neon Nectars festivities, but his role in this tale was far from over. Chapter 15: Unyielding Fury. The ambience of a dimly lit underground parking garage was broken only by the occasional drip of water. Here, Tony stood surrounded, the Triads on one side, mob enforcers on the other. But Tony's demeanor was that of a coiled spring, a master tactician who'd been in far worse scenarios. With a flash, the first wave came from the Triads. Blades gleamed under the scarce fluorescent lights, and the faint rustle of shoes on the wet ground marked their charge. But Tony, with an uncanny sense of awareness, seemed to predict their every move. A high kick sent one assailant into a concrete pillar, while an improvised nunchaku, crafted from his belt and a car's rearview mirror, sent two more sprawling. The mob, thinking they'd have the upper hand with their firearms, began to close in. But Tony was faster, diving behind a car, retrieving a discarded Triad blade, and then launching it with impeccable precision to disarm one gunman. Another mobster charged, but Tony, using his environment to his advantage, pushed off a car, spiraling in the air, and landing a punishing blow. Sweat and blood mixed on the cold ground, the cacophony of combat echoing throughout the structure. But as the minutes passed, it became clear Tony was an unstoppable force. Every punch, every kick, every dodge was executed with surgical precision. As the last of his adversaries lay defeated, Tony took a moment to catch his breath, the weight of the night's events pressing on him. But the battle, intense as it was, had rekindled something in him, the primal need to protect, to defend, and to stand against the shadows that sought to smother the light. Chapter 16: A breath and a beverage. Night had given way to dawn, casting a soft orange hue over the city skyline. Tony, now in his safe house, removed his combat attire, revealing a tapestry of scars and tales of countless battles. As he washed off the grime and blood, a memory flashed, a younger Tony, training with his master, learning the essence of combat not just as a means to defeat but as a path to inner peace. His phone buzzed, pulling him back to the present. A text message read, "Smoothies," from an unknown number. Without hesitation, Tony replied with his order, Phantom Blend. But he decided not to retrieve it himself, wary of the night's events. Instead, he asked a trusted ally, Lana, to pick it up. Lana, a stealthy and skilled operative in her own right, made her way to the Neon Nectar. As she collected the smoothies, she couldn't help but notice the strange energy around the place, almost as if the very walls held secrets. With beverages in hand, she quickly made her exit, heading back to Tony, unaware of the whirlwind of events that were about to unfold. Chapter 17: The Keeball's Descent. Lana's heritage was a tapestry of duality. From her father's side, the blood of the Joseon dynasty flowed. Her ancestors were North Korean royalty, a lineage that spoke of grandeur, honor, and traditions. Her mother's lineage, however, was a stark contrast, a cutthroat Keeball from South Korea, where power plays, corporate espionage, and backdoor dealings were everyday realities. Growing up in the heart of San Francisco, she often felt torn between two worlds: the majestic stories of palaces, royal ceremonies, and ancient arts from her father's tales, juxtaposed with the cunning, ruthlessness, and drive of the modern corporate world as narrated by her mother. This fusion made Lana an enigma. On the surface, she had the finesse, elegance, and grace of a princess. Yet, beneath that facade was a razor-sharp business acumen and an uncanny knack for sensing danger. Her upbringing trained her to be as agile in boardrooms as she was in clandestine operations. The duality made her unpredictable and fiercely independent. Yet, despite her toughness, she possessed a distinctly feminine allure, which she often used to disarm those who underestimated her. Lana stepped into the ambient lighting of Neon Nectar, her heels clicking rhythmically against the floor. The soft neon glows accented her features, casting her in an ethereal light. Her heritage was a blend of North Korean royalty from the Joseon dynasty and the ruthless drive of a South Korean Keeball. Growing up in San Francisco's melting pot had only amplified her duality, making her both revered and feared. Every patron turned to catch a glimpse of her entrance. Conversations hushed, and all was still except for the low hum of the ambient music. The room's energy changed immediately, with Lana being the undeniable epicenter. But her eyes weren't searching for any ordinary patron. She was looking for Yumi. Yumi, sensing a powerful presence, turned around from her seat at the bar. Their eyes met, and for a moment, it felt like the world outside didn't exist. Two women, from very different worlds, bound by threads of destiny they were only beginning to understand. Yumi, with her connection to the mysterious root, felt the weight of her recent discoveries, while Lana, with her combined legacy of royalty and corporate strategy, radiated a kind of power that came from centuries of lineage and decades of boardroom battles. A few feet separated them, but the distance felt immeasurable. They circled each other slowly, taking in every detail. Around them, the patrons of Neon Nectar could only watch in awe, sensing they were witnessing an encounter that was about much more than just two individuals. As the tension built, the door swung open once more. The bell jingled lightly, but the entrant wasn't interested in smoothies or the unfolding drama. It was a delivery boy, carrying a large order of assorted drinks. "For Tony," he said, placing the order on the counter and leaving quickly, sensing it best not to linger. Yumi and Lana barely registered his presence, so engrossed in their face-off. But the mention of Tony's name served as a fleeting reminder that there were powers at play beyond even their understanding.